track of time. You got blues shock. You're hanging in the streets, you never go to sleep, you won't go home and eat, you got blues shock. You won't pick up the phone, you're never ever home, you leave your wife alone, you got blues shock. Your money's always spent, you ain't got one red cent, you can barely pay your rent, you got blues shock. You got blues shock, that's what you got. 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 You got it. Something to say. There's a crazy little feeling and it's coming your way. It ain't pneumonia and it ain't the flu, but you can't shake it once it gets hold of you. Ain't but the one thing that you got, a crazy little feeling called blues shock. Just got a text. Your baby's hot and horny and you know what comes next. You head for the door, you stop dead in your tracks. That moaning blues heart is a-calling you back. There's only one thing that you got, a crazy little feeling called blues shock. Drinking lots of wine at the Kingston Mines. You lose all track of time, you got blues shock. You're hanging in the street. Blue shock. You won't pick up the phone, you're never ever home. You leave your wife alone, you got blue shock. Your money's always spent, you ain't got one red cent. You can barely pay your rent, you got blue shock. You got blue shock, that's what you got. 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 You got it. Something to say. There's a crazy little feeling and it's coming your way. It ain't pneumonia and it ain't the flu, but you can't shake it once it gets hold of you. Ain't but the one thing that you got, a crazy little feeling called blue shock. Chicago, ain't but one thing that you got, a funky little feeling called blue shock. Already 3 in the morning and you just got a text. Your baby's out and horny and you know what comes next. Head for the door, you stop dead in your tracks. That moaning blues heart is a-calling you back. There's only one thing that you got, a crazy little feeling called blue shock. Drinking lots of wine at the Kingston Mines. You lose all track of time, you got blue shock. You're hanging in the streets, you never go to sleep. You won't go home and eat, you got blue shock. You won't pick up the phone, you're never ever home. blues shock. You're hanging in the streets, you never go to sleep, you won't go home and eat, you got blues shock. You won't pick up the phone, you're never ever home, you leave your wife alone, you got blues shock. Your money's always spent, you ain't got one red cent, you can barely pay your rent, you got blues shock. You got blues shock, that's what you got. 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 You got it. Hey, everybody got something to say. There's a crazy little feeling and it's coming your way. It ain't pneumonia and it ain't the flu, but you can't shake it once it gets hold of you. Ain't but the one thing that you got, a crazy little feeling called blues shock. Now it's 12 a.m. and you're headed for home, but your automobile's got a mind of its own. Down to the blues club you have to go, down to Buddy Guy's Legends or Blue Chicago. Ain't but one thing that you got, a funky little feeling called blues shock. Already 3 in the morning and you just got a text. Your baby's hot and horny and you know what comes next. You head for the door, you stop dead in your tracks. That moaning blues heart is a-calling you back. There's only one thing that you got, a crazy little feeling called blues shock. You're drinking lots of wine at the Kingston Mines. You lose all track of time, you got blues shock. You're hanging in the streets, you never go to sleep, on track of time, you got blues shock. You're hanging in the streets, you never go to sleep, you won't go home and eat, you got blues shock. You won't pick up the phone, you're never ever home, you leave your wife alone, you got blues shock. Your money's always spent, you ain't got one red cent, you can barely pay your rent, you got blues shock. You got blues shock, that's what you got. 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 You got it. Hey, everybody got something to say. There's a crazy little feeling and it's coming your way. It ain't pneumonia and it ain't the flu, but you can't shake it once it gets hold of you. Ain't but the one thing that you got, a crazy little feeling called blues shock. Now it's 12 a.m. and you're headed for home, but your automobile's got a mind of its own. Down to the blues club you have to go, down to Buddy Guy's Legends or Blue Chicago. Ain't but one thing that you got, a funky little feeling called blues shock. Already 3 in the morning and you just got a text. Your baby's hot and horny and you know what comes next. You head for the door, you stop dead in your tracks. That moaning blues heart is calling you back. There's only one thing that you got, a crazy little feeling called blues shock. Drinking lots of wine at the Kingston Mines, you lose all track of time, you got blues shock. You're hanging in the street. Blue shock. You won't pick up the phone, you never ever home, you leave your wife alone, you got blue shock. Your money's always spent, you ain't got one red cent, you can barely pay your rent, you got blue shock. You got blue shock, that's what you got. 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 You got it. Something to say. There's a crazy little feeling and it's coming your way. It ain't pneumonia and it ain't the flu, but you can't shake it once it gets hold of you. Ain't but the one thing that you got, a crazy little feeling called blue shock. Just got a text. Your baby's hot and horny and you know what comes next. You head for the door, you stop dead in your tracks. That moaning blues heart is a-calling you back. There's only one thing that you got, a crazy little feeling called blue shock. Drinking lots of wine at the Kingston Mines. You lose all track of time, you got blue shock. You're hanging in the streets, you never go to sleep. You won't go home and eat, you got blue shock. You won't pick up the phone, you never ever home. drinking lots of wine at the Kingston Mines. You lose all track of time, you got blues shock. You're hanging in the streets, you never go to sleep. You won't go home and eat, you got blues shock. You won't pick up the phone, you're never ever home. You leave your wife alone, you got blues shock. Your money's always spent, you ain't got one red cent. You can barely pay your rent, you got blues shock. You got blues shock, that's what you got. 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 You got it. Hey, everybody got something to say. There's a crazy little feeling and it's coming your way. It ain't pneumonia and it ain't the flu, but you can't shake it once it gets hold of you. Ain't but the one thing that you got, a crazy little feeling called blues shock. Now it's 12 a.m. and you're headed for home, but your automobile's got a mind of its own. Down to the blues club you have to go, down to Buddy Guy's Legends or Blue Chicago. Ain't but one thing that you got, a funky little feeling called blues shock. Already 3 in the morning and you just got a text. Your baby's hot and horny and you know what comes next. You head for the door, you stop dead in your tracks. That moaning blues heart is a-calling you back. There's only one thing that you got, a crazy little feeling called blues shock. You're drinking lots of wine at the Kingston Mines. You lose all track of time, you got blues shock. Well, I'm a crazy mix-up kid, and I love to dance like this. Well, I love to rock and roll to satisfy my soul. Well, I love to jump and shout because it really knocks me out. To give me music with a beat, it really knocks me off my feet. I don't care what you heard, this is a crazy mix-up world. Crazy mix-up world. Crazy mix-up world. Crazy mix-up world. I'm in a crazy mix-up world. I don't care what you heard, this is a crazy mix-up world. Crazy mix-up world. Crazy mix-up world. Crazy mix-up world. I'm in a crazy mix-up world.
Please welcome our MC, Gabrielle Lyon, Executive Director of Illinois Humanities.
And welcome to the Illinois Humanities Public Humanities Award Show. I'm Gabrielle Lyon, Executive Director of Illinois Humanities. When Billy and the Sons of Blues said they'd help us kick off this show, I knew it was going to be a great one because there's actually no better mode than the blues for this moment. We are officially kicking off the COVID-19 edition of the Public Humanities Award, hashtag Illinois Humanities at Home. And we're gathered together today, yes, virtually, not how we imagined, and there is a pandemic happening, and it's horrible. And before we get to the celebration, I really just want to take a minute to acknowledge that after many weeks of being physically distant from our colleagues, our friends, our family, that many of our friends and family, they've been impacted by this virus. They're fighting against the impact. Some of them have been sick. Unfortunately, some of them have passed away. And in the midst of all of this, in the midst of this moment where we are together today, we're all a little anxious. I know I am. We're anxious about our jobs, our kids' education. We're anxious about the disparities that this virus is amplifying. And I know that no matter who we are, we're wrestling with the anxiety that comes from so much being out of our control. That's why when we make a choice like the one all of you have made to be together today, it really takes on a kind of weight. It takes on a kind of heightened meaning. And that's what the humanities does. It helps us make time and make space to make meaning together. I am very excited because I'm getting momentary updates, minute by minute, of all the people. Hundreds of people now are joining us. And I want to thank you. You are joining us from across the great state of Illinois, from 19 other states, from 5 countries. So in this moment, we are together and we are spanning the state, the continent, and yes, the globe. Feels great. In the next hour, we will be together, and the people you will hear from are all Illinoisans. Because Illinois is really, it's the heartbeat of the Midwest. It is, in fact, I believe, the most American of our states. I'm your MC, and I'm going to take you through this hour together. I'm going to let you know what's coming, how to get the most out of it, and I'm going to start with a few key pointers. The chat. Chat it up. You can shout out to me, you can pass little secret notes to your friends. We are going to put some key information in there like text to give. Don't be shy. Take advantage. Text to give. Let's do a little chat check right now. Chat check. I'm going to say chat check, and then you're going to put something in the chat. That's how it's going to go. Chat check right now in the chat. If this is your very first ever Public Humanities Award, type your name in the chat. Okay? If this is your first time with us at the Public Humanities Award, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are glad to have you with us. And I also want to give a special welcome to my mom, Stephanie, who's in Corrales, New Mexico, and to my son, Arlo, who's on the east side in Chicago. And this is a moment that feels really important for all of us at Illinois Humanities because it's our most important annual fundraiser and celebration. This is what it looked like last year at the Public Humanities Award. Pretty different. And this is just a time where a lot of things are different. I'll tell you what's not different though. Illinois Humanities' commitment to making sure that every resident of the state of Illinois has access to the humanities. In fact, I actually feel we have a more important responsibility than ever. We know that COVID-19 is affecting many people, it's affecting many cultural organizations, and the fact that we know those people and organizations so closely rests heavily on our shoulders. If this is your first time with us, you probably don't actually know exactly who we are or what we do, so I'm going to take us through it, and it's going to help you understand what the humanities is and why we think it's so important. So first of all, Illinois Humanities is a nonprofit organization. We are the state affiliate for the National Endowment for the Humanities, and we were set up more than 40 years ago specifically to make sure all state residents have access to the humanities. And it's what we do. We ensure access to free, high-quality humanities experiences, particularly for individuals living on low incomes, particularly in counties and towns and rural areas, especially for small arts and cultural organizations. And we're very concerned about making sure humanities reaches communities impacted by mass incarceration. So how do we do that? How do we live our mission? We do three things. We provide free college credit humanities courses like the Odyssey Project and Sojourner to adults and teens that have limited access to higher ed. Secondly, we create free public programs that bring neighbors together for discussions, performances, exhibitions. And thirdly, we make grants, especially in places where the humanities really matters. Last year, we have a small but mighty team. We are mighty. Small and mighty. We reached 16,000 people across the state of Illinois. And as you can see from the map, we reach people in almost every county. But the map isn't people. And what I want to do right now is introduce you to some of the people at the heart of our work. So I'm going to introduce you right now to Nicole, Roberta, Chris, Dorothy, and Allison. And you'll hear from them what our programs are all about.
My name is Nicole. I'm speaking to you from my Southside COVID-19 Zoom room. I'm an Odyssey Project alum and a friend and fan of Illinois Humanities. Illinois Humanities matters not just to my community, but to every community. If the past few months have shown us anything, it's that we are all only but one community. What happens to one of us happens to all of us. Illinois Humanities didn't just now realize that, it's something they've always known. Years ago, their tagline was "Beginning the Conversation," for the way they opened serious dialogue all across the state about important things that actually matter. And they never stopped with just starting the conversation. They always continue their conversations with compassionate, practical programming that actually changes lives. Illinois Humanities puts the human back into the humanities.
Hi, my name is Roberta Koszelski, and I'm the Deputy Director of Peoria Public Library in Peoria, Illinois. I'm speaking to you today from my backyard. I serve as the coordinator of our Illinois Speaks program at Peoria Public Library. Illinois Humanities provides the means and support for Peoria Public Library to invite our community to engage in thought-provoking discussions led by a trained facilitator from Bradley University. Our most recent discussion, held in April via Zoom, was a conversation on how do we move in our city during the coronavirus outbreak. Our conversations are honest and thoughtful. In the words of a regular Illinois Speaks participant after our most recent discussion, he said, "I think the whole meeting had a good karma. People seemed to be safe, feel safe, and willing to share. In the end, it's all about relationships." So thank you, Illinois Humanities, for helping Peoria Public Library build relationships in our community.
Hello, my name is Dorothy Burge, and I was a commissioned artist for the Illinois Humanities Council Envisioning Justice program in 2019. This program paired community-based agencies and nonprofits with social justice artists and activists to create the Envisioning Justice exhibition. The exhibition was designed to raise awareness and engage audiences in meaningful discussion on criminal justice issues that were negatively impacting communities of color and other marginalized communities. A variety of art forms, including spoken word, poetry, music, video, painting, sculpture, protest banners, and quilts were used to raise awareness and promote meaningful discussion on what criminal justice issues would need to be addressed if our goal was to have a more just society and what a more just society would look like. I am very grateful to the Illinois Humanities Council for providing me, other artists, community-based agencies, and nonprofits with this opportunity. Thank you.
I'm Chris Valillo from Macomb, Illinois, the very heart of Forgotonia. I've been involved with Illinois Humanities since the late 1990s when I was invited to become a member of the Rhodes Scholar Speakers Bureau, and still am. To me, Illinois Humanities has been an opportunity to develop and hone my skills as a humanities performer, but more importantly, to take those skills to some of the most underserved communities in the state. So stay safe and hope to see you down the road soon, in person.
Hi, my name is Allison Thompson. I'm the director here at Marshall Public Library. Marshall Public Library has a long-standing relationship with the Illinois Humanities. We've been site to 4 different Museum on Main Street exhibits, as well as dozens of Rhodes Scholars. Most recently, we received a grant in conjunction with the Museum on Main Street's Crossroads Change in Rural America. And prior to that, we held a panel discussion with the Humanities on oral history documentation. The Illinois Humanities has provided services and programming to our library that we would not have been able to afford or offer otherwise, and we are certainly proud of the work that the Illinois Humanities is doing on behalf of not just the state of Illinois, but rural America. So thank you, Illinois Humanities, for all your work.
Hi, I'm Juana Guzman. On behalf of the Board of Directors for the Illinois Humanities, thank you so much for being here today. Gabe, back to you.
Thank you, Nicole and Chris and Allison and Dorothy and Roberta. Thank you. Our state is a better place because of what you do, and we love partnering with you and your communities. Actually, one of the things that makes Illinois Humanities particularly unique is that we are deeply rooted in getting to know people with different backgrounds and different perspectives. It's one of our most important values, and we really focus on what it takes to bring disparate neighbors to get to know each other. Not despite the differences and distances, but because of them. That's not just a kind of work bonus if you happen to like to drive around the state. It's what the humanities requires. And because that's at the heart of the humanities, understanding yourself, trying to understand the perspective of somebody else. When COVID-19 struck, it was a real blow. We bring people together to understand our history, to explore differences, to imagine a collective future. That's what we do day in and day night, day in and day out. And so we had to figure out what that meant to do that in a new way. This program, this event, the 570 plus people that are already watching, this is one version of what it means to respond to the impacts of the virus. But our COVID response means other things too. It means providing stipends and tech support to people like Nicole, who are in our Odyssey program, running poetry workshops online for young people like Aanika Pfister, whom you're going to meet soon, helping performers and humanists like Chris Valillo figure out how do they reach people using technology, helping hosts like the Marshall Public Library bring world-class exhibitions to their communities in new ways. And one of the most important things our team has done in the last 9 weeks was to create an emergency grant fund to try to reach and support as many humanities and cultural organizations as we possibly can. You're looking at a map right now. It has 24 points on it. Those are our first 24 recipients of emergency relief funds. But when you look at that map, I just want you to know that it's only 20% of the applications. We could only fund 20%. These places are hurting. They're all trying to do the pivots like we are, and we would love your help keeping the lights on for humanities in Illinois. Yes, during the pandemic and also beyond. So if you're like me, you're probably using the humanities and living with the humanities at home every day. Maybe you're like me and you're reading about WPA and the Depression and histories of resilience. Maybe you want the artistic escape of some sci-fi show. Maybe you want an avenue for dialogue across differences, especially when it's hard. You need help having hard conversations, and we just need a space to imagine what's possible. What is it going to mean to build back better? It's the humanists that are going to lead the way. So the funds we raise today, and we really do hope you'll help, the funds we raise today are going to support our COVID relief efforts. And here is the great news. Every dollar up to $50,000, our board of directors is going to match. So don't be shy and choose the best way to give. You can give in a way that works for you, like text to give. That's my new favorite. I discovered it earlier this week. You can bid on our auction, and I'm sure they're going to be promoting some things in the chat. We like analog. You can write us a check. In fact, the address is in the chat for you right now. But let's get to the awards. I am so pleased to have the privilege of presenting Illinois Humanities' first ever Beacon Award to Weinberg Newton Gallery. The inaugural Beacon Award is going to perhaps a group emblematic of what we imagine the Beacon Award should be about. An organization or a person who is going to extraordinary lengths to make sure there is public access to the humanities. The gallery provides a free public space for exhibitions, they partner closely with community-based organizations, and then they really find thought-provoking ways to let people engage in a really gorgeous gallery. The gallery was founded in 2014 by David Weinberg and Jerry Newton, and right now we're going to get a chance to look inside the gallery and hear from David, one of the founders.
Everybody at the Weinberg Newton Gallery wants to thank Illinois Humanities for this wonderful opportunity and for honoring us for the work that we do in the name of social justice and the arts. We do that work by starting discussions around difficult social justice issues. And we become the artistic voice of so many not-for-profit social justice organizations. In the past, we've covered such topics as LGBTQ, immigration, gun violence, and many more. The exhibit that we have starting September 11th is around voting and voting rights. which is most appropriate because of the election coming up in November. Our partner is the ACLU. That will either be a walk-in exhibit or it will be virtual. Whatever it is, we're hoping that you'll join us.
David, Kaiza, Nabiha, Lisa, Jerry, Christian, entire gallery community, congratulations. We are such big fans of your work, and we really want to thank you with deep appreciation for all you do to make the humanities accessible. Congratulations on being the inaugural recipients of the Beacon Award. Okay, how's everybody doing? Last I heard, we had crossed the 550 mark, maybe 575. I'm looking for my cue. Yep, 630. Okay, 630 people were doing a chat check. Ready? Chat check. Right now, if you type in the zip code of where you're located, and if you're in another country, just write in the country. If you do that right now in the chat, your zip code, we are gonna make a map, and at the end of the show, we're gonna show you back to yourselves. Okay, chat check, go. Did I mention that this show is made possible by some very generous sponsors? The first of which is, that's right, our very own Northwestern University. They are our lead sponsor, and the Alice Kaplan Center for the Humanities is a leader in all things humanities, and we thank you. Let me not forget MortarNet Solutions. Thank you for your sponsorship. UIUC, woohoo, thank you. And my alma mater, the University of Chicago, and our very, very own Chicago School of Social Service Administration. Let's hear it for the SSA. If you're enjoying the show, thank them in the chat. Thank you so much, sponsors. We are so excited to be able to do this and make it free to a broad and diverse public, clearly from all across the world. Okay. Newsflash, chat check. If you have chatted 3 times during the course of this show, you will be entered into a door prize. And at the very, very, very end of the show, I'm calling out 3 names, you will win door prizes. That's just how we're doing it. Yes, it is. Now, one more brazen plug. It's my specialty, brazenness in the modern sense. We have created an experiential auction out loud that includes salons with scientists and poets and wine and gardening and more. And I really want to encourage you to bid. I have the extraordinary privilege right now of introducing Aanika Pfister. She is an incredible author and poet and voice of this moment. I met Aanika last year at the Gwendolyn Brooks Youth Poetry Award competition, where she was a winner. And that competition is something Illinois Humanities actually resurrected, and it was originally created by Gwendolyn Brooks herself. So there is a lot of poetry with us at this moment, and one of our champions is Aanika. Aanika, welcome to the show. Not everybody gets to already know you, so will you tell us a little about yourself?
Hi, I'm Aanika. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm from Lane Tech. I'm a senior there, and I'll be going to Drake University in the fall, which is pretty exciting.
Congratulations, that's amazing. Do you know what you want to study?
I'll be majoring in writing.
That's great. So I'm curious, how is Illinois Humanities at home going for you? How are things going at home? What is it like being a senior and maybe not getting to graduate the way you imagined?
It's honestly so crazy, but taking every step one day at a time has been phenomenal to see how people change and adapt and are able to continue doing things, even through the craziest of circumstances, not just with Illinois Humanities, but with CPS and with some of the things I was excited to participate in.
So what is getting you through right now? What is it like being a senior? What's getting you through the stay at home these days?
Oh, the internet, honestly. Connection with my teachers, with my peers, with my friends, and just with everyone is so important during these times for me.
Are you reading anything? Are you writing these days?
I am reading the super exciting book that I found thrifting like a year ago called The Janissary Tree, and it's a mystery novel. But I'm also reading some poetry. I'm reading A Fortune for Your Disaster. I forgot the title, by Hanif Abdurakeeb, and it is just, it's so good.
Oh my God, that sounds like a hot tip. Fortune for Your Disaster feels like something I need to pick up. And we're gonna treat everyone to you performing one of your poems. Before we get to watch that performance, is there anything you want to tell us about the poem and your thoughts about it?
Yeah, well, it's a poem about my grandmother on my Black side, on my mom's side. And it's just a poem that I wrote kind of when I was like thinking about her and the culture she brought to me, and how much I love her and that family. So I think, like, especially now, it's really sweet to think about just a family member who you totally love.
Thank you for that. Well, I can't wait to share this performance. And don't go away. We're going to see you in just a few minutes, okay?
See you then.
Hi, I'm Aanika, and the title of this piece is Mama Loves You. Mama loves you, baby girl. Mama loved you since you first nibbled on her knuckles. Love bite, she said, and gave you red lipstick smooches smothered all across your cheeks. Big-headed baby scissor hand, she knew you grabbed her flab so hard that black turned to blue because you never wanted to let go of Mama's love handles. Never. Mama's big hips could bounce back and forth to D'Angelo and Stevie Wonder and Michael Jackson back when he was black and handsome, to biscuits brown and beans to proper green. Mama always kept you well fed. So well that before dinner in your head were ways to say no thank you, ma'am, to her wrinkled chestnut hands, to make the plate she held sink back to the table. Mama woke up early for you. While you pulled on your pants, she fried eggs and brown bread so you could eat on the way to get your Jesus on. Mama insisted on bowling while you were in town almost as much as she insisted on your black excellence. Her fingernails accidentally scratched confidence into your skin that spread through your body like the way Mama bragged about you to her sister. Mama stays seated nowadays. She only needs a couch and a drink nowadays, and her TV, a 2003 flat screen, and the oven, sticky, stiff buttons she doesn't bother with nowadays. But Mama still loves you. When you're in town, she bathes every day and puts on a wig and lipstick to pull your face down and smother you with her freshly baked kisses. Thank you.
Oh my God, that was amazing. Aanika, just thank you. Thank you for that poem. And now, we turn to what so many of you have been cheering us on for so many years, the presentation of the Public Humanities Awards. This year's awardees were selected through fierce and thoughtful and purposeful conversation and consideration by an incredible selection committee. I'm very pleased to announce that this year's awardees are Sylvia Ewing and Eve L. Ewing. This is the first time the award has ever been given to a mother and daughter, but it certainly represents something that we know is powerfully at play in Illinois, which is the role of families, of multiple generations who commit themselves deeply to the places where they live, where they learn, where they love, and we're so very pleased to be presenting these awards to Sylvia and Eve. As we get to know them a little bit right now, I hope that you keep in mind that the work they do is really emblematic of what it means to do the humanities for the public. Sylvia has an incredible legacy as a journalist and has been part of public broadcast television in the arts. And she's really specialized in bringing people into conversation around pressing issues facing communities and having tough conversations in ways that are inviting. I think of her as the great inviter. And if you are invited in, You are welcome, you get to participate, you're heard, and frankly, Sylvia invites everybody, so she's already invited you and I didn't even know it. Most of all, she's not just a journalist. She's a teacher. She teaches leadership and meditation. She's an executive with Elevate Energy, a nonprofit that seeks clean energy for all people. And her embrace of the humanities has inspired civic action really across the state and across many generations. That's evident in the work of Eve Ewing. Eve, in her own right, is a powerhouse, and I am so privileged to know Eve, to see her in action, to joke with her, to exchange texts, but even if that was not any part of my life, I can tell you that Eve is exactly the kind of person I wish I could be. She is a public intellectual, but her work is about what matters. She is an absolute prophetic scholar at the University of Chicago. She gives us critical insight and much needed context for understanding what we see around us. How did things get the way they are? How do we make sense of them? But also what might else be possible? And she puts that acumen to work as a poet, as a creative writer, and as the author for Marvel Comics. So she's just amazing because not only is she describing the past, she is creating new universes as she goes along, and especially for young people of color. Hashtag Ironheart. All you Ironheart fans, go ahead, chat it up right now. We know you're waiting. So Eve and Sylvia use the past and present. They help us imagine, they invite us in, and we took advantage of that and asked them to both respond to a prompt. And you're going to hear their responses to what the humanities mean to them right now.
I believe that Chicago is the most American of cities and that Illinois is the heartbeat of the Midwest. But I'm a Chicagoan by choice, not by birth. I came here from another Great Lakes place, from Erie, Pennsylvania, where I studied what was called commercial art at a vocational high school. It created a love of the arts in me and my belief that they can move people to action. My career seems a little disconnected. Television, radio, print maybe makes sense. Nonprofit advocacy, Steppenwolf Theater, but there's a through line that goes through all of it, and that's the humanities and the belief in dialogue. I believe that a great conversation can move the world to action that can be for the good. And that belief continues to motivate me in my work at Elevate Energy, a nonprofit where we focus on climate justice and energy efficiency. That belief in a good story and the power of it is another way that I feel so connected to my daughter, Eve. She's an independent thinker, full of kindness, and she is raised in a foundation of community responsibility and justice for all. She was an editor when I worked for Chicago Parent. She was in high school and edited my columns. When she was in grad school, she would share tips with me that I used in my classroom at Columbia College. And she's someone who has always motivated me to be my best and to do better. We live in a time where we are facing COVID-19, and America has always been more in love with African culture than Black people. We have been the faces at the bottom of the well. But together, we can change that. The solution is in our homes, in our families. The solution is with each of us. And so, practitioners, dream your dream. Patrons, be door openers, not gatekeepers. And together, we can create a world that is just and good, and where the humanities can save humanity.
Hi everyone, it's Eve. I'm so grateful to accept the Illinois Public Humanities Award, to share it with somebody that I love so dearly, and to have this opportunity to gather virtually with so many of you. This is a very hard time, and one thing I've been reflecting on for the last 2 months is what precisely it means to be in the humanities right now, what it means to do this type of work. And there was a point very early on in the pandemic when I felt a real sense of hopelessness. Perhaps many of you have also been feeling that. I've been writing and trying to get through those first several very confusing days, determined that no matter what happened, I would keep writing, that I would continue this effort to inscribe something of myself upon the world. But for the first time that I can remember, I found myself asking out loud, what is the point of this? Why am I doing this? I felt a real sense of despair. And just at that moment, I read something by the novelist Alexander Chee, and I'm going to share a little bit of it with you. It's from an essay he wrote called Unbecoming an American Writer. And you can insert any kind of creative practice that you do if you're not a writer, although I suspect many of you are writers, whether or not you'd admit it. If you are reading this and you're a writer, and you, like me, are gripped with despair, when you think you might stop, speak to your dead, write for your dead, tell them a story. What are you doing with this life? Let them hold you accountable. Let them make you bolder or more modest or louder or more loving. Whatever it is, but ask them in, listen, and then write. And when war comes, and make no mistake, it is already here, be sure you write for the living too. That meant a lot to me, and I hope that it's a good reminder for some of us that even as we're experiencing so much loss and so much suffering and so much uncertainty, it makes it all the more necessary that we create the work that we're here to create. In times of crisis, we need art and faith to bring us joy and healing from our sorrow. We need law and philosophy to help us understand what it means to fight for human dignity and human rights for those who are sick, for those who are incarcerated. We need politics to help us make the impossible but all too necessary demand for a normal that was better than the normal we had. And we need one another, so that in the spirit of comradeship and beauty, I'm thanking you today for this award. I promise that we'll see each other again in real life someday, and I'm just glad to be here with you and very proud to receive it. Thank you.
Eve and Sylvia, I would love to be the first to congratulate you and thank you for those moving responses, but I promise to let other people say congratulations, so we're going to hear from them first.
She is a woman of many hats, like teacher, mentor, producer, journalist, a public relations master, arts maven, community activist, rightfully proud mama, doting grandma, loving wife, and dear friend. And she wears all of these hats brilliantly.
If you want to describe one of the best producers in arts and culture discussion for many years, and also a very strong advocate for good in the community, those two words identify my 20-year friend and colleague. Those two words are Sylvia Ewing.
She is a Chicago institution, someone who has dedicated her time and efforts to making sure that the stories of marginalized communities are told. And I, for one, am personally grateful that she's lent her time and talents to me. Congratulations, Sylvia.
Sylvia Ewing was the first real artist and activist in the local scene that became the maven of all the young local artists and activists.
She is compassionate, she is altruistic, she is complete, and she is caring.
And you are an extraordinary producer, broadcaster, and journalist and cultural maven.
She is the mother of two of the most brilliant writers to come out of young Chicago authors. She's also been a mentor to me. She showed me that my poetry could and did fit into this brilliant spectrum known as the blues.
Wow, the IHC hit a grand slam, selecting the Ewings for the award this year. Two amazing women. Felicitaciones to both of you.
Thank you both for your dedication to Chicago and making our city a better, more just and equitable city.
I just want to give a big shout out to my homie, my sister, one of my heroes, one of my good friends, Dr. Eve Louise Ewing, and of course, her great mom, Sylvia, who was so instrumental in making stuff happen at YCA when I was a young person there.
I'm so inspired by both of you all's commitment to making this city a better place, and I'm happy to share in the celebration with you. Congrats.
Congratulations, Eve. I could effuse about your intelligence, talent, rigor, moral clarity, and commitment to literature, but I want to use this opportunity to speak of your tremendous generosity. I've been so moved and inspired by your insistence upon using any moment that elevates you to lift others up so that they too may be seen and heard.
Eve Ewing has instilled in me the motivation to work this world into something, to change its shape as if it is clay. She has taught me to trust my dreams, that my imagination is intrinsically linked to my liberation, and she has deposited so much faith into me even when I've been full of doubt. And for that, I'm forever grateful for her and for her family.
Thank you for everything you've done here at the store with your signings, your giveaways, just having you here talking to the kids and adults about Riri and everything about comic books has just been exciting to see.
Eve Ewing is brilliant and kind and a rigorous scholar and so creative. But what I am most inspired by in Eve is her integrity. Eve knows who she is, she knows what she cares about, what she fights for, and she brings that with her into any room that she comes into, whether it's with a team of creative collaborators, in front of a classroom, or on stage with the mayor of Chicago.
Wow. Well, it is pretty clear from hearing the testimonials of everyone whose lives you've touched that we could not have picked two more compelling recipients of this year's Public Humanities Award. Eve and Sylvia, thank you for your service and all that you do for people and communities all over the state. Sylvia, on behalf of the Board of Directors of Illinois Humanities, it is my privilege and honor to present you with the Public Humanities Award for 2020.
Thank you so much, May. Thank you so much, everyone. I have often said that if it's good for Chicago, I'm for it. I extend that. If it's good for Illinois, I'm for it. All of the people who believed in young people, who believed in me, who understand that generations are to be seen and listened to, and we can't afford to leave anybody behind. Thank you for standing with me, rolling with me, sign languaging with me. And I accept this from the bottom of my heart for my lifetime thus far. And as I am prepared to slow down a little bit, I am thrilled to grow my replacements without being conceited. But we need the next generation, and I am there for you because it takes all of us. So thank you so very much.
Thank you, Sylvia. And speaking of the voice of the next generation, here to present Eve's award is Aanika Pfister, whose talent you got to hear earlier in the program. Aanika?
Hi there. As one of the many young poets touched by your work, thank you, Dr. Eve Ewing. On behalf of the Illinois Humanities Board and statewide staff, it is my great honor to present you with the 2020 Public Humanities Award.
Thank you so much, Aanika. I have it right here through the power of the United States Postal Service. And I just want to say thank you, and what a tremendous honor it is for me to receive this, because everything I've ever produced, everything I've ever had the blessing and the privilege of making as a writer, as a person, is really because of the rich culture of the humanities that is so resplendent in our city, in our state. And so I want to say thank you to every person I've ever collaborated with, every librarian, every bookstore owner, every teacher, every reader, every kid who scribbles in a notebook on the back of the CTA. We are the people who make this culture and build this legacy for so many generations to come. And I'm so grateful for the work that we get to do together in this lifetime. Thank you.
Thank you, Eve. If we were doing this event in person, we'd have a room full of hundreds of people rising to their feet. So if you felt the ground sway a little bit beneath you, we're doing all of that virtually. And now I'm going to hand it back over to Gabe with my deepest gratitude and appreciation to her and the entire Illinois Humanities staff for all their hard work and everybody who worked behind the scenes to make this event possible. Gabe will close out our program. Thank you all so much for your time and joining us today. Gabe?
May, thank you. I actually can barely believe I get to work here. So really, to you and the board, thank you. Sylvia, Eve, David, Weinberg, Newton Gallery, thank you for giving us 630 strong at this moment, such a good reason to choose to be together. And to everyone who is choosing to be with us right now, thank you. We are committed to working harder than ever to everyone, for everyone in Illinois, from the metropolis of Chicago to Peoria, to Macomb, to Marshall, to Golconda, to Robbins, to Chester, and all the highways and byways in between. We are going to make sure that the humanities is there. Because only the humanities reminds us of who we have been. Only the humanities helps us ask the question, who are we right now? And only the humanities is going to give us what we need to imagine who we actually want to be. I'm sure that Illinois Humanities can count on your support, and I'm sure that you're going to enjoy this poem written for us by the 2019 Public Humanities Award winner, Cheryl Lynn Bruce. For my money, the humanities are a kind of everlasting Rosetta Stone. Why? Why? Because the humanities decipher, reveal, explain what and how, then and now, the human heart, mind, soul, and senses, understand, interpret, navigate the world we find, the world we dream, the world we make for ourselves and for the rest of us. Who does not need such wisdom? How can we live fulfilled without it? Note these recent turbulent days and nights as testament. Thank you for supporting our work through these terribly turbulent days and nights, and thank you for being with us in the dawn that does lie ahead. We're going to look at a map of us right now. This is a map showing where we are at this moment. Every single person who's joining us, thank you, because I know that you are a humanities champion where you live, and certainly for our great state of Illinois. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, shout outs and door prizes. First of all, I just can't say enough to thank you to every single one of our host committee members. They pulled this event together. They went with us when we had to pivot from in-person to the experience we're having collectively now. And I really, really want to thank every single one of you for your generosity and encouragement, patience, and humor. I am going to do some shout outs to the most amazing table hosts. We have had a fierce competition gearing up, and I have to open up with a shout out to table hosts Paula Kahn and Ann Evans. You go, girls, and be kind, because we're going to count up how many you each had, and we'll let you know who the winner is. I want to congratulate UIUC and the Odyssey Project. I want to thank all of the Illinois Humanities tables. I really, really want to thank my fellow state humanities councils. You are joining us from Missouri and South Carolina and Nebraska and Arizona and Vermont and Wisconsin and more, and Hawaii, and thank you. We are lucky to be in this across this country together. And now I'm going to announce the door prizes. There are 3 of them, and then one last thank you. So our door prizes go to 1, Tanisha Robinson, 2, Tom McDonald, and our 3rd door prize goes to Jessica Streur, S-T-R-E-U-R. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. We'll be in touch. Your prizes are on the way, courtesy the U.S. Postal Service. And last but not least, I really want to thank my supremely excellent team from Illinois Humanities, and they are going to do a thank you as well. And then we're going to hear from Billy Branch. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next year. Yay! Woo! Oh, somebody else wants to say hi. Do it. Thank you. Thank you, team. Thank you, Illinois. Thank you, sponsors. Goodbye.
Thank you.